Hey everyone, so today we're going to do a full review of Polygon Strattos S5 disc. So let's get started. Right on! Hey everyone, Zach here, back with another video. I do cycling related content from product review, route review, and also my cycling journey. Do check out my channel if you're into cycling stuff. So today we are going to review my bike, which I've been riding for quite some time, as you guys may notice in my vlog, the Polygon Strattos S5 disc. So I'm going to separate this video into few sections, which I will leave a timestamp in the description down below. A huge thanks to Liran Malaysia for loaning me this bike long term for me to play with it, ride with it, and do vlogs with it. Yeah, so definitely an experience. Hopefully more to come from them. So the Polygon Strattos S5 disc. Right now I have this bike for around 2 to 3 months already. I've done multiple rides which accumulate up to about 1,500 kilometers already. So I think I'm able to give you a long-term overview or a point of view, and also the things that I like and dislike about this bike. But before we begin, a quick disclaimer: I am not a professional cyclist, I'm just a cycling enthusiast. So the things that I'm about to say about this bike is just based on my personal opinion. So if you guys have any questions that you want to ask, do feel free to leave it in the comment section down below. So with that, I'll start with the quick bike check of this Polygon Strattos S5 disc. So I've been having this bike for quite some time, then I've made some changes onto the bike to fit my riding style and also my fitting. Here are some of the things that I've changed already. Oh, before that, if you want to see the original build of this bike, which is the stock version of this bike, I'll leave a link up above whereby I do a quick bike check on this bike before I really mess with anything. Do have a look on that first or after this video. So the things that I've changed on this bike is, firstly, will of course the handlebar. So the original handlebar comes with N30 alloy handlebar, which is about 400 mm or 40 cm to be exact, and this one is about 38 cm or 380 mm. This one is much more suitable than for my shoulder width, and also it's carbon. Alright, then after that I've also changed the stem. So the stem over here is 80 mm, sorry, from the brand Physique over here, and also slammed down slightly to be in more aero position. And moving down below is the wheel set. So the wheel set I changed to DT Swiss P1800 spline. It's also a aluminum wheel set coupled with a Goodyear Eagle F1 tire with 10 wall, and inside I'm running right now ultra lightweight inner tube. So for overview, this whole bike is actually an aluminum alloy frame, which is the ALX alloy from Polygon, and couple it with a carbon fork. And then Polygon Strattos S5 disc comes with a full Shimano 105 group set, hydraulic group set. As you can see, the knob here is significantly bigger compared to other group set. The chainring, 105 chainring 5034. The rear derailleur and the cassette is 1130. Then over here we have the Shimano disc rotor. Originally comes with TRP disc rotor. The feeling is not so great, but of course after changing this to Shimano rotor, braking performance improved drastically. So that's the brief overview on the bike, the things that I've done on this bike, and also the parts that I have changed. Right now the current build is about 8.4 kilograms, including the bottle cage and also the Decathlon pedal. So previously, if I'm not mistaken, the stock build is about 9.4 kilograms without the bottle cage and also the pedal. Yeah, definitely lots of potential on this bike where you can play with the parts to make the bike lighter. Alright, so basically that's about it for the quick check. Now let's go with the free hub sound test. So how does this Polygon Strattos S5 disc compare to my Cam Neon Sora, or how does it keep up to my social rides? Well, I am actually pleasantly surprised to say that this bike feels amazing actually. If you compare it from the perspective of someone like me who came from an entry-level road bike, which is a 2000 ringgit road bike that I've used previously. If you've seen my channel, the Cam Neon Sora mix. So to just comment on to this Polygon Strattos S5 disc, is actually quite fast. When my first ride with it I did was to Tanjung Malim. Well, on the flats I definitely can feel that the each pedal stroke that I push, I can go faster and I'm able to maintain at a higher speed compared to my previous bike. So when it comes to climbing, with all the stock setup, the entity wheel set, the original tires, standard tube, and so definitely can feel the drag, I would say rolling resistance, because during that first ride on the flats I definitely can maintain the speed, but when it comes to climbing, you can just see all my friends just pass by me because of the weight and also the rolling resistance by the original wheel set. I think that's the main drawback, or I would say the setback that this bike comes with. Then there is also one time I follow Melvin to do 100km ride with them on KRIA rolling hill, and so to be honest, I can keep up with the front gang, and all of them at that time sprinting about 35-40 kilometers, but I managed to keep up with them using this Polygon Strattos S5 with the stock wheel set. But of course you need to put in mind that Melvin's gang, they all are very powerful leg. At the same time, they all are using expensive bikes, you know, I mean like stock, Weiler, Chapter 2, and so those expensive bikes are definitely fast. But in terms of effort that I managed to give out with this Polygon Strattos S5 and an aluminium wheel set frame, I'm able to keep up with them for the most of the ride, except for the end. So after that 2 rides, which is my first impression ride and also the ride with Melvin, definitely makes me want to change the wheel set. So I did. So I did not go all out to a carbon wheel set. Eventually I still trying to look for something budget, not to splurge much on this bike, so that I can really give a feel on the budget upgrade for this bike. So once I change the wheel set to this setup on the bike, I can feel the performance gain is definitely there. I'm able to maintain higher speed on flat roads, and for climbing performance also I can feel an improvement when compare it to the original stock wheels. Now I'm not saying that the original wheels is bad, it's just that something that you can look into to upgrade once you get this bike. But if you don't want to upgrade, at least change the tire, even upgrade the inner tubes to a lightweight one. So handling wise, I would say this bike feels agile compared to what I've ridden before. Some bikes can feel a bit twitchy, and some bikes can even feel you don't have the confidence to take the corner, but this bike does not feel so. I did some downhills and uphills, especially sharp cornering. I can feel full confidence and take the corner, no problem. Now in terms of value to performance of this bike, I think it's very good if you want to get this bike. What I'm commenting is based on the perspective from someone who owns an entry-level road bike, which is about 2,000 ringgit, and upgrading to this road bike, which is about 5,000 ringgit. The performance gain is definitely there, but eventually I still believe the leg is still one of the most important part as a cyclist to go faster, because no point you having a good bike but the engine, which is yourself, that is not so good, and the bike won't even perform that well. So shifting performance has also improved when compared to my previous setup. I'm sorry, I need to always compare it with my previous setup from my previous bike, but anyway, I come from a Shimano Sora group set, which is a 9-speed group set, and changing to this 105 group set, where I can definitely tell a big difference when compared to shifting accuracy and also the speed of shifting. Now the shifting for 105 is something that I really appreciate. Every time when I shift, just drop one and the shifting is just instant. compared to my previous one, Shimano Sora, the shifting, I think you have a slight delay. If you haven't tried Shimano Sora and you straight go to 105, you definitely won't tell. Having more gears is useful, especially when you're on a hill climb or even rolling down the hill. So when I have a 9-speed cassette previously, I always have trouble finding the perfect gear ratio. Sometimes the gear is either too hard, which causes me to grind more, or the gear is too light, which makes me spin more. But having 11 speed, I can feel I have enough gear, and I'm always able to find the perfect gear ratio for me where I can spin comfortably. My cadence is exactly at the pace where I want to. I'm not grinding and I'm not even spinning faster. So changing from 9-speed cassette to 11-speed cassette is helpful if you cannot find a comfort or your ideal cadence, I would say. So coming from a rim brake to a disc brake is also something that I would like to talk about. Well, if you want to look for a weight saving bike, go for rim brake option. But if you are someone like me, a casual rider, do occasional climb, don't care about the weight, I would say just go for the disc brake, because that is my opinion. The modulation that you get from a disc brake compared to a rim brake is a big difference, whereby you can press a little to slow down, and so I'm not so sure how to describe on that part, but you get the idea. Unlike the rim brake, sometimes you cannot find a proper modulation on rim brake option. Maybe it's the brake pad problem, but I digress. So if you are using a rim brake on a wet road, sometimes you won't be able to have the braking performance that you need. You won't be able to stop as quickly as you want. But if you have a disc brake, you can stop much more faster, and you're able to have more control on your braking performance. Now I think you guys must be wondering why I keep hard selling this bike, all the good things that I got, or maybe a performance gain improvement that I got from this bike compared to my previous bike. But do I have a gripes on this bike? Yes, there are a few things that you all need to keep in mind about this bike when you got it brand new. So let me explain. So here is the bike right now. Now I'm not saying that this bike is not good or something that is a major concern to anyone, just a little nitpicking from my side after using this bike for quite some time. The first thing will be the screw, especially on the front wheel. So the true axle over here. Now taking off this true axle, you need to keep in mind on the nut over here. Now this nut does not bond or bind into the carbon wheel, so once you remove the true axle, this nut will just drop off. So that is one thing that you need to keep in mind, because if you lose that nut, you won't be able to screw back the wheels onto this bike. Another gripes that I have for this bike is the convenience of removing the wheels and the front or the back wheels. So for a rim brake, you have a quick release whereby you just pull the lever and you can remove the bike easily. But for this, originally they came with a true axle and you need Allen key to remove the wheel. I think that is something that you also need to keep in mind, especially when you have a puncture and you don't bring enough tools like an Allen key, then you might not able to remove the wheels to change the tube. So bear in mind for that one. And the third thing, or the third gripes or something unusual about this bike, is the front top tube over here. Well, sometimes when I pass by a bump or a pothole, I'm not sure what's the problem, but the bike will have this sound when you cross the bump or a hole. I tried to check on the bike already, especially checking on the bolts over here and also the top bolt over here. Everything is securely tight and even to torque spec. So I'm not sure where the sound come from. Maybe it's from the axle itself or the bearings. I don't know, but I don't think it's a big problem. If you saw a hole, just avoid it, or if you saw a big bump, just go gently with it lah. Oh, one more thing that I would say is the cable routing for the bike. So if you can see the cable routing over here, up here, and coming down the bottom tube down here. Having a much more cleaner cable routing or internal cable routing is an option which I will go for. But judging from the price range that this bike comes with, I don't think you will regret it lah. Actually, it's quite good value for money for the overall package. That is just really nitpicking things that I have with this bike. Now, would I recommend this bike to all of you guys? Definitely is a yes. I would say if you are a beginner cyclist or this is your first road bike, highly recommend you to get this bike. And also counting that the fact if this is your first time cycling, aluminium frame is definitely much more durable when you compare it to a carbon frame. And if you have a crash or you have a slight fall, it won't really damage the bike much. It really do last longer. So considering the package of this bike within a 5,000 range, for the value to performance that you get from this bike, you will definitely not regret it. I'm sure you will enjoy this bike as I did. But if you are someone who don't mind the budget, then why not just go for higher range Polygon carbon bikes. Now, in terms of upgradability for this bike, there is a lot of potential that you can do with this. So to extract more from the bike, I would definitely recommend you to upgrade the tire first, then the tube, and go in to the wheel set. But to extract more performance of it, carbon wheel set is definitely much more faster if you can get your hands on one of those. And if you're looking to reduce the weight for the overall bike, you can try to upgrade to carbon parts such as the wheel set, the handlebar, the stem, the seat post, and also maybe a lightweight saddle. I think easily this bike can go to below 8.5 kilograms or almost touching to 7 kilograms. So hopefully I managed to give you some perspective on overview of this Polygon Strattos S5 disc. Now I did post a Instagram Q&A, which we will go into the next section. So let's go. Before that, let's go back home first. Alright guys, so I'm back at my home. Right now I'm going to do some Instagram Q&A, which I posted anything that you all want to ask on this Polygon Strattos S5. So thank you all for sending in the questions. So I'm going to answer to few of them. So for those who didn't follow me in my Instagram, do check them out at ZBikeLog. Yeah, some interesting content there and maybe some behind the scenes. But anyway, let's go with the first question. Is this the bike that smoked all the super bikes? Well, I won't say that I smoke all the super bikes actually. So I can keep up with those super bikes. I mean, like those I wouldn't say who, but yeah, you can tell. The next question is, what wheel set you currently using? So I'm using a DT Swiss P1800 spline with DT Swiss hub. It's an aluminium wheel set coupled with a good tire from Goodyear and also a turbo little equivalent tube. Right now tube, maybe you can check out the link above. Yeah, that's what I'm using for my wheels. Okay, the next question, top speed on flat road. So this one is a bit subjective depending on the road condition. I would say normal conditions, no wind, nothing, I would say maybe 40 or 38, 40. And if with tailwind, definitely above 40. Your height and your bike size. My height is actually 165 cm and the bike is S size. But for those who want to gauge which bike size they want to take, I would recommend you to go directly to the store and check it out, because that will be much more accurate. And if for me, I will go down to one size smaller, maybe like XS or so. But yeah, heard about the seat post will drop even after using top force tighten, is it? Well, I did not experience this problem for my seat post, but I'm not so sure what happened over there. It could be maybe the torque is not properly function or so. And even if you have this problem, perhaps you can bring it to the bike mechanic or try some carbon paste. Yeah, maybe. So surprisingly, few people ask something similar questions, which is how much improvement that I see when compared to my previous bike. Well, I would say the improvement is quite noticeable for me, at least for me, because especially on the efficiency of the power transfer. So first time riding with the bike with the stock setup, I definitely can feel a difference an improvement, I would say, compared to my cam. Now previously the cam, maybe the bottom bracket area, there's not much material on the bottom bracket area, where compared to this Polygon Strattos S5, there is more material at the bottom bracket area, so it's much more stiffer when I deliver the power. So definitely can feel the improvement. If you ask me to rate how much improvement out of 5, maybe I will give it 3 or 4, 3.5 maybe. Okay, so the next question, can this cycle touch 80 kilometers per hour? Definitely not on the flat road, but downhill maybe, but my record is just 70 plus. Okay, how much have you spent on the bike? Let's see, how much did I spend on the bike? Well, I transferred few parts from my cam, the handlebar and also my pedals. Other than that, I spent on the wheels, the tire, the tube, and also the stem. So about 1,500 ringgit maybe. Yeah, that one is on my own cost. How is the climbing performance? I would say it's good if you upgrade the wheels, because for my case, I experienced it during the first ride itself. The stock wheels is kind of heavy for me, so definitely can feel it there. Yeah, if you cannot afford to upgrade the wheel set, at least try to get a better tube and also a good tire. So the performance is quite good for climbing after that. So fully sponsored by Polygon. How much for complete bike? Nope, I'm not really sponsored by Polygon. Now for me, sponsored means that Polygon paid me to and give me the bike to do the review. But no, Polygon just provide this bike free for me to test out. And if you want to know the total price for this bike, the complete bike around right now retails about 5,000 ringgit, I think. After I ride this S5, got considered to upgrade to a carbon frame. Yes. So after trying this aluminium frame, definitely makes me curious whether how much improvement that I can experience from a carbon frame to an aluminium frame. Now the reason why I get this S5 is actually I want to test the difference between the mid to high-end aluminium frame compared to the budget option. So right now, after testing both, I definitely can tell the difference. But if you are a beginner cyclist, I don't think you will notice the difference between both bikes. Yeah, so for overall view, how would you rate it from scale of 10? I'll give it 8. I missed out 2 for the wheel set, the stock wheel set that it came with, because that is just too heavy, but you can use it for a training wheel. Yeah. Alright guys, that's about it for the Q&A questions. Thank you all so much for submitting your question, and hopefully I'm able to give you some context or a full review understanding on this Polygon Strattos S5D. A huge thanks again to Polygon Malaysia for lending me this bike long term for me to review and also give you all an idea on how this bike perform on long-term usage. So if you guys enjoyed this video, remember to give me a like, consider to share this with your friends, subscribe and ring the notification bell so you won't miss my future content. Till next time everyone, eat, sleep, cycle, ride on. Bye.